In my last video, we looked at the single point tracker inside of Fusion and showed how effective this very basic tracking system can be. Today we're going to step it up a notch. We're going to look at the 4-point tracker. Not the planar tracker or the camera tracker. We're staying old school. 4-point tracker, and we're going to show how this can be very useful for a lot of your screen replacement needs. We have 3 different scenarios we're going to look at today. One seems basic, but there's some glare on one of the picture frame corners. So how do we use that glare to our advantage? We have another situation where 3 of our 4 trackers actually leave the frame. How do we adjust for that? And finally, we have a situation where there is a foreground object in front of one of our trackers. Okay, so here we are in Fusion. So with any 4-point tracker, typically we're doing a replacement or an insert. Screen insert, laptop insert, TV insert, or in this case we're going to do a picture frame insert. We're going to change these pictures inside this picture. So the first thing we're going to want to do is add a tracker. Let's look at our tracker. Defaults to 1 tracker. So let's take our 1 tracker and let's put it up in the top corner. We'll do the inside corner of this. We'll shrink our search area down. And we will shrink our pattern area down. Nothing moves very fast. And then I'm going to actually just, if we look over here at the what is being tracked on the luminance scale, there is no alpha scale. The color, it's not bad. Red's a little tough up there. Green, not bad. Blue seems to have the most contrast. So we're going to track the blue channel. We're going to add another tracker. And we're going to do the exact same thing on this corner. And we'll do blue channel there. We'll add another tracker. And while I'm in this position, I'm going to add my 4th tracker just to save me the zooming in and out. Because we know we're going to need all 4 trackers, so we might as well get all 4 of them out here. And again with the blue channel and tracker number 3. And again, we'll do the blue channel. Now we will notice that there's a reflection on the glass which is going to go across and possibly interfere with tracker 3. So that's one of the reasons I've made the search area nice and small, or the tracking pattern area nice and small. We're going to track in the adaptive mode. We're going to do every frame, and we're at the first frame of our timeline. We're going to go forward, and it looks pretty good. And if we check our spline editor for all of them, they all look pretty similar. So for now, we're going to say, I think that might be good. Okay, we're going to pick our tracker now. We're going to change the operation to corner position, not match move. When I go to corner position, I get this insert, which tells me where my insert position, my 4-point trackers are going to form the plane that we're going to put into this shot. We're going to leave it foreground over background. We're going to put this logo into it. We don't want it to be keyable in here, obviously, so we're going to put it on the background. And I could put it on a black background, but that is actually going to make it a little more difficult because there's going to be some reflection from the glass onto the wood frame here. So I'm going to make it a little easier on myself, and I'm going to put it on a background that is a very similar color to my original background. That way any reflection I get will be a little more hidden. And we're just going to blow the logo up a little bit. And we're going to just drop some of the sat down a little bit on that so it's not quite so obvious. And we're going to blur before the transform. Again, not so obvious. And we can see some grain in there. So after the blur, let's add some grain. It's quite a grainy shot actually, so that'll help. And let's hit save. And let's just play it through and see what we get. That's pretty good. Trackers 3 and 4 were just a little out of position as to where I wanted them. And having already tracked it, it's a little different procedure to adjust these tracker points. This is in the case of I want to adjust them universally across my entire tracked picture. I don't want to go into my center append and do a particular point here or there. I want the change I do to this corner and this corner to be reflected on the entire project. So in order to do that, I'm going to go to my modifiers and I'm going to look for tracker 3 and tracker 4. And you can see as I scrub through my shot, we can see the displacement is changing from 0 to whatever it needs to be throughout the course of this shot. But we can also see the center XY has no keyframes on it. So what we can do is change the center XY, which will essentially change its position. And by not animating it, it will change it by that amount for the entire course of this track. So let's just bring this one up a little bit. Let's go over to 4. Again, this is just if after you get your image in, you decide maybe your trackers that are forming your 4 point aren't quite where you want them to be. You can do an offset as well, but I find this just as easy. And there we go. Or it might be just a hair high here now. You can see that guy is just leaking through. But If we do our next step, which is to bring this reflection back in, that might not matter. So to bring this reflection back in, we're going to take our original shot. We're going to color correct it down. Now this is tough because part of the reflection shows the difference in the frames of the pictures in this collage. So unfortunately we're probably not going to get a perfect reflection here, but we'll see how we can do. Because no matter how much we drop this down, we can always see those images in the background. Let's try that. There, let's see what that does. So we're going to take that shot and we're going to merge it over top of our final, and we're going to set it to screen. And maybe just a hair blur on that. There we go. That looks pretty good. Now what we're going to notice is there's some of this is we're adding to the brightness in some other parts of the picture as well. So it'd be nice just to mask this part only off. So to do that, we're going to take our original shot. We're going to put it into another tracker. I'm going to rename it Mask. And we're going to just do a single point tracker on this corner. And again, we'll do the blue channel. Right at the head of the thing. So let's track forward. Okay, so that gives us the motion of the picture frame. We can now do a polygon around this highlight. Which is essentially just giving us highlight over this part of the shot. But we can take this polygon and we can take the center of it and we can connect it to our mask unsteady position. And now that follows the motion of the frame. Might have to do a little adjustment. Take our polygon. Just a lot of lag today for some reason. I think the screen capture program is running amok on me. Now we don't want to mask the color correction part. We just want to mask the merge. So where the two are joining, we only want to join. We only want to see through that part of it. So we're not getting any of that screen additiveness on the rest of the picture. We're only getting it on our main reflection. And by the same account, we can now take that entire output blur it. So that gives us blurred edges around our picture. I'm going to do another polygon. I'm going to blur the edge of where my picture frame meets my new background. And I think that's good enough. And there we go. There's a pretty easy 4-point track. Again, the more you want to dick around with some of those things to try to give it a little bit of life, a little bit of realism, the less likely somebody's going to notice what you've done. But that's the basic concept of a 4-point track and being able to do adjustments on it. Let's take it up one notch. Here's a shot. If we were to look at the middle piece of art in the gallery here, you'll notice that we start with only one of our 4 corners. So how do we deal with that? Should be pretty simple shot to do because it is very smooth. So we're going to add our tracker and we're going to add our 4 trackers and just loosely place them for now. Because the shot is so smooth, I'm probably not going to have to worry too much about my search area. Let's just get our pattern set. And we're at the end, and let's track backwards. And of course we lose 3, then we lose 4, then we lose 2, and 1 looks like it should survive the entire track. So let's turn off the tracks and just concentrate on them one at a time. Tracker 3 looks good up until there. So we're going to take tracker 3 and we're going to go append it, and we're going to look for something that's going to be in the shot for most of the duration or all of the duration of the shot. We're on frame 68. And let's use his wrist. Let's try that. And if we look at our track, and we're looking just at the green center, and it looks as though it's pretty smooth. So we're going to do that with the other two trackers that need help. Tracker 4 loses it. Right there. Again, we're on center append. And we'll go up, and we could use the exact same append area, which I think was about here. Let's just start there, and just for the heck of it, let's pick something different. Let's do his eye. And there we go. And we're going to make our operation corner position. And I have pre-built some beautiful artwork to place in there. And what do we get? My artwork might not quite be square to the world, but the actual track is pretty smooth. We'd have the same situation here. We are losing a corner at the very start. The other corners are constantly in the shot. So let's go to the end. Let's bring in our tracker. I need 4 points. I just like to loosely position them before we go too far. Now this point, in theory, let's try something different. Let's put it on something that's going to be in the shot for the entire piece, even though it's not right in the corner. These all have very good contrast because there's a black frame on the laptop, so we shouldn't have a problem with whatever channel we choose. And let's track these back to the start. And it looks like we've got good track. Now, what do we want to put in there? That's a good question. Let's put this in. Okay. Now, obviously, our tracker 3 needs to be adjusted over to where the alarm clock is. So let's go to our tracker. Let's go to tracker 3, and this is where we would use the X and Y offset. So we're going to stretch the X offset over and bring the Y offset down. And it's just a bit of a push and pull scenario. And now we have a proper offset. We would want to be behind this alarm clock, however. So we're going to track the alarm clock. Let's try tracking the center of the alarm clock. Part of me thinks I should track closer to the edge that I want to be on, but we'll see what happens here. And we'll track this forwards and back. And we will get a ellipse. And we will set it as close to the center as we can. Plug it into our mask. And the tracker is tracker 3, and it's the center position or center axis that we want to follow. So we're going to connect the ellipse to tracker 3, steady axis. And then we have that. The ellipse, we can do a soft edge. And allows for the reveal behind that clock. There you go. 4-point tracker. Old school is still pretty good. As always, please like, subscribe, and leave comments below. I try to respond to everybody. Thanks for watching.